Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si G. Tanji and thank you for joining us here on Kababayan Today. We have with us a women's panel. If you saw them last month, we were talking about everything to do with relationships. Ang pera, divorce, as well as, money in relationships. We're talking about things na hindi natin pinag-uusapan sa ating kultura. Ngayon naman, pag-usapan natin, sex in a relationship. Let's introduce our panel on this women's panel, starting off with Kat Iniba, host of Halo Halo.
Hi, G. Hi.
And kasama natin si Alison De La Cruz, isang theater maker.
Hello.
Kasama ko si Ojeda-Kimbrough, isang professor of Asian American Studies.
Hi.
And Norma Requierme-Austin, isang Phil-Am community leader.
Hello.
All right. So, let's get started. Let's talk about sex.
Whoa.
Okay. Hindi natin pinag-uusapan ito sa kultura natin dahil laki tayong Katoliko. Most of us, right? So pag-usapan natin, the first thing, premarital sex. Did your parents talk to you about sex? Let's talk about it. Kat.
No.
Oo o hindi?
Hindi. They never talked to me about sex. They raised me to believe sex was a bad thing. You can only have sex when you were married. I mean, it got to the point where they were teaching sex ed at school, and they had to sign a form to exclude me from that, and I had to sit in the principal's office. I was the only one. It was embarrassing. And then they never taught me about it.
This is not uncommon for a lot of Filipino families. Ikaw, Alison, did your parents talk to you about the birds and the bees?
Hindi. I mean, I think there were functional things about women's cycles and things like that, but I think in terms of a real straightforward conversation about sex and I think it was just generally like, no, like don't have
Mali
it.
yan.
Yeah, mali yan, don't have it.
My goodness. Yeah.
Ikaw, Carol, kwinento ba sa inyo na inupo ka ba ng mga magulang mo at kinausap ka na, eto, anak ha, pag-usapan natin?
Hindi rin. Everything I learned about sex, and it's not just about having sex, the act, but everything I learned about sex, I learned from my neighbors, the kids, other kids, and they were not the right thing. I learned, for example, my good friend from across the street told me, he's a guy, sabi niya, oh, you should be careful, you're starting to develop breasts. If someone hits you with that, you can develop breast cancer, so you have to protect it all the time. So I think that's why the girls carry their books like this to protect their breast. Unfounded, but that's what we learned. If you sit in a toilet, you could, or in a swimming pool, you could get pregnant. Those kind of things, what I learned about sex, But my parents, you can't even ask them. We didn't learn about sex in school. We didn't have sex education. I grew up in the Philippines. At least dito, you're given that opportunity, maski, even though your parents opted to get you out of it.
Yeah.
Pero no, my gosh, no, not in the Philippines.
Tita Norma, did your mom talk to you about sex?
Lord have mercy.
Ano, oo? Hindi.
Hindi. Even when I was in my 20s, I already left home. Since I didn't know anything about it, I did not indulge.
Even though there was a yearning.
Oh my God, I was so curious. But then again, even to think about it was a sin. I went to Catholic school from grade 1 up to first year college. Then I went to university. I was fish out of water because I was so curious. But at the same time, I had to behave because I knew I was feeling it, but I couldn't act on it. Can you imagine? I lived in Europe as a young Filipina. Young.
Oh, hit na hit ka doon. Diba?
Hit ako. Exotic. And then they used to approach me and look at me like,
Kakainin
adoringly,
ka!
Kakainin ako. Di lalo akong natakot. Naku, ito yun. And tuloy, when the man who told me I wouldn't do, nanghihinaya nga ako eh. Naku, sayang eh. Kasi, had I known, ganun lang pala yun, edi, I could have indulged. Eh, hindi! Kasi takot na takot ka, no? So when the man told me, I won't do anything against your conscience, I was attracted. Kasi hindi ako kakainin.
Oh.
I was so naive.
And that was the man you ended up marrying.
Yun na nga, how stupid!
All right, so this is not uncommon in our culture. It's not uncommon, okay? Why don't we talk about it? Bakit hindi natin pinag-uusapan? 2015 na po, di ba? Kailangan na natin pag-usapan. I'm very proud to say that I was part of the Purple Ribbon campaign in the Philippines that helped the reproductive health bill pass in the Philippines. But 2015 na. So it's been so long, you know? And reproductive rights in the Philippines is not considered a top priority when you have Filipino women having 5, 7, 10 children, you know? So we need to talk about this, and we need to tell our lolos and our lolas and our aunties and our uncles na, alam mo, pag-usapan na natin to because it's 2015, it's high time we talk about it. All right, so what are the factors that contribute to this guilt that we have when we talk about it? What do you think it is? Kat?
You're asking me why I think my parents didn't want to talk about it? Maybe because they had the same experience. Their parents didn't teach them about it, and so they had to learn through their friends, and maybe they felt that that wasn't right.
All right. Carol, this topic about sex, you know, why don't we talk about it in our culture?
There's a lot of fear. Guilt, like you said. Yeah, there's a lot of fear that your parents will think you're a slut, or will think negative things about you. You're just asking questions, basic biological needs.
That's right. Okay. Let's talk about that here on Kababayan Today. Pagbalik natin, pag-uusapan naman natin, is sex supposed to be enjoyable? Dapat ba? Okay, pag-usapan natin yan dito sa Kababayan Today.